But I actually have a hot take that this did not come from her. My hot take is that this came from Todd. Here's why. Hello, Bravo bosses. This is the Bravo Investigator Podcast. I'm your host, Dana. And today on our Monday Reality Roundup, we are talking about Summer House, The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Love is Blind, Teen Mom, Love Island, and Selling Sunset. So happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Mine was actually okay. I was really busy, actually. I was putting together a portfolio that I'm trying to do for this social media internship job that I'm applying for, and just putting together my portfolio for UGC stuff that I'm trying to do. So I'm like pretty much done all of that. I have basically been spending 2 weeks putting together like content reels, basically. So like day in the life and get ready with me and stuff like that, so that I could put a portfolio together and try to do UGC work, which means like pretty much effective tomorrow, I will be applying for that. I am like finishing out my portfolio today on Monday. I'm almost done. I just need to like figure out what rates I want to charge. And then as of tomorrow, I am like applying to brands. So I'm kind of nervous about that, but kind of excited. Excited because I've been like really working hard on all of this stuff. And you guys would not believe how much work it is to create content, right? Like I'm not complaining, but like as someone who used to basically write for a living and just sit on the couch, creating content takes so much more work. You are literally constantly getting up to change lighting, to move tripods and things like that. So it gets like pretty physical. And like on Saturday, I did a day in the life and it took all day, right? It's a day in the life. And it was exhausting, right? Like setting up my tripod at all of these different stores, making sure that you get the right shots, making sure that you get the right lighting, making sure that you're doing enough stuff in the day. And I actually thought to myself, like, I'm unemployed. Like, how much stuff do I even do in the day to warrant a day in the life video? But I actually had to trim it down quite a bit. It's funny because like at the end of it, it was like an hour long that I had to trim down to 90 seconds. And it took me literally all day Sunday to do that. So that's what I've been doing. Super busy. And then there were a couple of jobs in my field that I saw come out over the weekend. So I applied for those as well. So today basically is just me sitting here and recording the podcast, which I'm really excited about today because we have like a stacked lineup. Like, yes, this is the Bravo Investigator Podcast. And yes, I love Bravo, but I love all reality TV. And I love days where we get to talk about a lot of different shows, not just Bravo. So like the fact that we have a Teen Mom Day, a Love Island Day, like these are the days of our lives, right? These are the best days where we have like a true full reality roundup from all spheres of reality TV. So super jazzed about that. And then today after this, I will just be finishing up my portfolio and then, yeah, applying for UGC jobs effective tomorrow. So that's really exciting. And I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for those of you who like went ahead and left me some really nice reviews. Like, I can't even tell you how much this means to me. So some of you know that some bitchy person named Sexy Mama, you know who you are because you're probably still listening, left me this really bitchy review saying that like, you need to stop talking about your unemployment, you're not interesting, blah, 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 blah. And I posted it on Instagram. And then I woke up this morning to all of these really nice, amazing reviews from people saying like, we like when you talk about yourself. It makes it like, you're not AI. We like that you're a real person. We love your Bravo takes. We like you talking about yourself. So to those of you who left me reviews, that was so kind of you. It really made my day. And given that we are 2 weeks into the unemployment, yes, I've mentioned the unemployment again. Today, officially 2 weeks. I don't think I've ever woken up smiling. And so again, to those of you who left me reviews or have sent me DMs, which a lot of you have, and told me like you're rooting for me and things like that, it really means a lot to me. It has been so nice and so kind and so uplifting. So thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. So before we get into it, I just want to go over the schedule again, just so that we know where we're landing, because I keep changing it. My bad. Also, I don't know if you guys really care about the time of day that the episodes come out. I was just sort of thinking I'd record my episodes the day of because I have full control over that now. It's my YouTube channel, my show, my everything now. So I don't know if that really matters to you guys. Like, if you prefer to listen to the show at the start of your work day or at the end of your day, I don't really know. Days like today, I probably could do it sooner. But like days like tomorrow, for example, I have a guest. She's not available to the afternoon. Same on Thursday. So I won't be getting out those episodes till later in the day. So I hope that's okay with you guys. But yeah, regular schedule is Monday Reality Roundup like today, which you can watch on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, which I have linked in the show notes. And please, please subscribe over there to the YouTube channel. You don't have to watch on YouTube, but please, please subscribe. And then on Tuesdays, it's TLC Tuesday. We are doing Before the 90 Days. I am so obsessed. It is so good so far. 2 episodes in. And tomorrow for episode 2, I'm going to be joined by Amy Archer for the podcast Little Miss Recap. Love her. She's amazing. Wednesdays will be for the Patreon babies. Head over to patreon.com/the Bravo Investigator podcast for 4 extra podcast episodes a month, ad-free episodes, early episodes, and bonus content. And right now we are doing a Vanderpump Rules from the beginning, which I am having such a good time doing. It's been so much fun. Thursdays will be the new Vanderpump Rules recap and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And this week I will be joined by Morgan from Morgan's Pop Talks. And then on Friday, I am covering recaps of Southern Charm and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So that is the schedule going forward. Monday's reality roundups will always be on video. If I have a guest, those will be on video. If I'm doing an interview, those will be on video. If I have done my makeup, those will be on video. But a lot of times, some of those other episodes will just be audio, but I will still upload them to YouTube anyway. Okay, I think that is all the news. So I think we can get into our topics for today. So we're going to start with Summer House. And as you guys will recall, we had the epic trailer come out last week. It was so, so good. And it ends with like this cliffhanger where Amanda is talking to Sierra and Lindsay about how Kyle stayed over at a fan's apartment and didn't come home until 6:30 in the morning. So, you know, this has caused like a lot of hubbub in the Bravo sphere. We had already been hearing rumors about them having split. Dumois basically confirmed it. Like Dumois said that they are living separately. And then right after that, both Kyle and Amanda made jokes of it by like pretending that she was living in like Gemma's little dollhouse. But you know, then this trailer came out and it looked pretty bad, right? So I guess Kyle felt like he had to go speak to the media about it. So he said to a news outlet, "There's no excuse for staying out as late as I did, but I want to be clear, I did not sleep at a fan's apartment," Cooke 43 said. "I was at an event that Amanda chose not to attend, which moved to a bar and then to an after party." So the fact that he mentions Amanda, first of all, pisses me off because he's being like, well, she was invited. She just chose not to go. So it's not like I was at a party with like a bunch of girls. Amanda was invited. Amanda was invited. That's his point, right? And then when he says move to a bar and then to an after party, was the after party at a house, a fan's house, right? Because he says, "I don't use anything to keep myself wired." Okay, great. So you're not on drugs? Like, that's a weird thing to sort of point out. Like, I can't keep myself from falling asleep. That would be insane because I'm not on cocaine. Like, what? So I think I ended up falling asleep on a couch and suddenly it was almost 6 a.m. So couches usually exist in apartments, right? And the fact that you went to an after party where there was a couch sounds like you fell asleep at a fan's apartment. So then he says, do I regret the situation? Absolutely. But that's the truth and the full extent of what happened. It's hilarious to me that he decided he needed to go clarify this to a news outlet when the truth is exactly as Amanda said it, right? Like Amanda said, you fell asleep at a fan's apartment and didn't come home till 6:30 in the morning. This sounds like you fell asleep at a fan's apartment and didn't come home till 6:30 in the morning. So the clarification was moot. Honestly. And then one of these really great accounts, Face Reality 16, you should go give her a follow. She ended up finding like these videos, I think they were TikToks, of Kyle partying till 5:30 in the morning at someone's house, drinking a Truly of all things, right? And then there was like a caption over it saying that, "Oh my God, he's still here, he won't leave," and it's 5:30 in the morning. So everybody thought it was like this night, and it started going viral. And then Amanda ended up commenting on that, being like, surprise or not, this is actually not the day that I'm talking about. This is not the night that I'm talking about. Meaning this obviously happens a lot. I think it's so funny that we as the content creators, we go out, we try to find like that moment. And Amanda's like, no, that's actually a different night where he didn't come home until butt fuck in the morning, right? So I don't know. This whole thing is pretty wild. Like we've been seeing for many, many years now, they're not compatible. there's something about them though that we're still rooting for them. I don't know why we are. Maybe it's because we've been watching them for years and years and years. I mean, Amanda was literally in season 1 of Summer House, even though her and Kyle weren't like officially together then. We've seen her from the jump. We've never really seen Kyle with anyone else. So I think it just like bothers us in a sense as like Bravo fans to see one of our like golden couples like fade away. But I think we all know deep down, even though it like breaks our hearts, these two are not meant to be together. Like Amanda said in the trailer, she wants someone who's going to stay home more. And then he went and found a job where he's going to be out all night. They just don't like the same things. They are not the same people. She's a homebody. He likes to go out. And at the end of the day, that is driving a huge wedge in their relationship, and it always will. But Amanda's also kind of the kind of person that I don't think will ever actually leave him. I think that he would need to do it. She's sort of lazy in that sense. I hate to call her lazy because like I don't think she's actually lazy, but there is something about her, what she has talked about, not in terms of her depression, but when she has big tasks, they weigh on her. And I think that she tries to avoid things like that. I mean, even the year of her wedding, they had so many trials and tribulations, I remember. And there was like, I mean, they ended up losing their florist. And Amanda's like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. And it's like, you have to, like the wedding's in a week, right? So the fact that she'll just put things out of her mind that are like very imminent, I think is just sort of her MO. And I could see her like dragging this out, quite honestly, for years and years and years and years. So that's Summer House, but I'm still jazzed for the season. It comes out February 3rd. I'm really excited. The trailer looks so good. Honestly, I didn't even think it would be good because everyone is getting so old. They're aging out. There's going to be so many new characters, but it just looked so good. And even if the whole thing is Kyle and Amanda related, and even if we have been watching that for years and years and years, for some reason it feels different, and I feel just as excited to watch it all over again. Okay, let's move on to Love is Blind. So this story actually came out last week, but I forgot to mention it. And since we have like a couple things in the Love is Blind sphere, I feel like we could talk about both of them. So Alexa and Brennan from season 3 of Love is Blind are getting a divorce. I am really shocked about this. They were obsessed with each other from the jump. She was like one of the bigger girls on Love is Blind, which was like nice to see that, you know, someone of a bigger size ended up being picked, and her looks had absolutely nothing to do with it, didn't come into play. But that being said, there was something just so different about them. Like he was like this cowboy vibe. She was very like, you know, Kardashian type. And I really liked her because she was like a Jewish queen or whatever. But like, yeah, there was just like something about her where I felt like they were very mismatched. But regardless, they got married right away. Like they showed us no problems as far as the internet goes, right? And then a year ago, they had a baby. So now here we are a year later and they're getting a divorce. Is this our first Love is Blind divorce? I'm trying to remember. I mean, how many? I think we're 7 years in, because there's more than one season per year. But like Lauren and Cameron are still married. Amber and Barnett are still married. Bliss and Zach are still married. It's even worse, obviously, when there's a kid. So like, it's just wild that it's come to this. There's this article that came out in Cosmo that I'm going to read that says, yes, it's true. Another Love is Blind couple calls it quits after meeting and getting married on the show. Who else got married and divorced? Oh, someone remind me if this happened. The couple in question is Alexa, Alfia, and Brennan Lemieux, who paired up on season 3 of the beloved Netflix series in 2022. They announced their split with a joint statement to Instagram on December 3rd, 2025, where they wrote in part, after much reflection and after many heartfelt conversations, we have made the difficult decision to end our marriage. This choice was not made lightly, and it comes with a great deal of care, respect, and appreciation for the time we've shared. While things seem amicable between the former Flames, who welcomed their daughter Vienna Ziva in July 2024, new court documents obtained by Us Weekly reveal that Alexa thinks Brennan is to blame for their divorce. She's also requesting a larger cut of their estate per the docs. According to Us Weekly, Alexa filed court documents that denied the allegations in Brennan's divorce petition on December 4th and asked that the court split up their estate while requesting a disproportionate share of the estate. The reality TV personality listed several reasons for being owed more in the filing, including attorney fees, future monetary support, the wasting of community assets by Brennan, and his fault in the breakup of the marriage. An insider told the outlet that Alexa asked for her separate property to be confirmed as her sole property as she makes more than Brennan and wants to retain her earnings. A few weeks before the filing, Brennan submitted a divorce petition in which he said that his marriage to Alexa was insupportable because of their conflict of personalities. He also noted that there would be no reasonable expectation of reconciliation and requested that the court to award him any assets he had before they tied the knot. Amid all of this, the former couple is still prioritizing their young daughter. While our journey as a married couple is coming to an end, we remain supportive of one another, devoted to our daughter, and committed to navigating this transition with compassion, they wrote in a joint statement. So what's this about money? So he feels like they have competing personalities, and she feels like he's wasting community assets. This is interesting. Now, am I making this up, or does he have a gambling problem? Did I make this up? I may have made this up. I may have completely made this up. But if that has anything to do with it, that could sort of make sense. I could sort of peg her as the type who sort of like lives beyond her means because she's like kind of a fashionista. It's wild, right? Like, you know, it's interesting though when he says that it has to do with like a conflict in their personalities, because at the end of the day, the show was called Love is Blind and they were supposed to be compatible on their personalities, right? Obviously those things change and obviously love is not blind, but like, I don't know, I'm really shocked because after this many years together, so they're together like 3 years and having a kid together, you would think that they know each other quite well. But yeah, it seems like there is some sort of something going on with the finances here where she believes that she makes more and she should be getting more out of this divorce. He apparently has been like wasting money. He feels like they're incompatible. So I don't know. Sorry, guys, I'm like choking on my own spit here because I cannot believe that Alexa and Brennan are getting a divorce. I just feel like, you know, I can tell that there's already some anger building up here. And who knows if this is going to become one of those contentious divorces. I feel like you really never know someone until you go through something like this. So the fact that they're both already speaking to media outlets and sort of denouncing each other and stuff like that, I feel like this has the potential to get messy. Okay, we have a little bit more of Love is Blind news. So do you guys remember Meg and Mason? Me neither, really. They were from the Minnesota season of Love is Blind. Now, the reason they're hard to remember is because they weren't, first of all, one of the couples that ended up getting married. Second of all, everyone from that season was very white and blonde, and it was really hard to tell everyone apart. So Mason was one of those white guys that was hard to tell apart. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that Mason had a thing with Madison. Madison is like one of the very few who's come out of this and has sort of been able to maintain some fame. She was on Perfect Match. And then Meg was like his number two. And then Madison told Meg that Mason said that she was his number two. And then she felt like she had to leave because she promised herself that she would never be someone's number two. But then from what I recall, after the show that they like tried dating, but then it didn't work out. Well, then last week they were on What's the Reality Pod with AD talking about their relationship. And I'm like, wait, what? You guys are together? I'm like so confused. So I watched this and basically, yeah, they met on season 8. They had a strong connection in the pods. And because he called her his number two and she found out, she felt like she had to leave. There was a lot of drama surrounding that only because Madison sort of made it that way. And like they were, if I recall correctly, all on the reunion because of that drama. But again, to be honest, I stay out of all of that drama because it was so irrelevant. None of these people even got married to begin with. I feel like Madison blows things like very far out of proportion. She's sort of this kind of person where like if someone doesn't like her or it doesn't go her way, they're like dead to her. So if I'm not mistaken, I feel like Mason was the one where she was just like going off and off and off for like months and months on end about like what a bad guy he was. But yeah, here's apparently what happened. They did reconnect after the pods, and she says that they tried to date a couple of times, but it didn't work out because of their personality differences. Again, Alexa and Brennan, personality differences. These things are very important. So they decided to just be friends. But then after the show aired, she saw a different side of him because he was like really there for her and really supportive of her and just like really had her back. And now they're together and they're talking about living together and they're like really, really happy. So I thought that this was really interesting because to say that you guys dated when no one knew who you were, no cameras, no nothing, and you tried dating a couple of times, right? Like you put the old college try in a couple of times, but regardless, you couldn't get past your personality differences, which is a big deal. But then the show ended up bringing you together. You would think it would be the opposite, right? Like, the tabloids and the fact that Meg even talks about like getting obsessed with the comments and getting in there about what people are saying. It can take a toll on you and it can take a toll on your relationship. So I'm very surprised to hear her say that the show like brought them together. Because again, the thing that was not bringing them together in the first place was their personality differences. And while I think it's amazing that he's supportive and all these things, don't you have to be many things in order to be in a successful relationship? And what happened to those personality differences? Did they just fade away? They're no longer important anymore? Who cares? I guess at the end of the day, they seem very happy together. So good for them. They did talk about Sarah and Joey, because remember them from that season. Joey was with Monica and Sarah was with Ben. They both said no at the altar, but then agreed to continue dating after. They both broke up after, and now Sarah and Joey are together. And that caused a whole bit of drama because Sarah and Monica were friends. I can't believe I remember all these people's names, quite frankly. I'm actually kind of impressed with myself. So there was that whole thing going on. So AD asked them about Sarah and Joey, and they were like, yeah, we're still friends with them. We're going to go on double dates with them soon. We love them. They're a great couple. And Mason, make sure to point out that they were each other's number twos. And so, it really makes sense that they're together. This whole like ranking of things, it's a pod thing, right? So just because they were each other's number twos for a week, for 10 days in a pod, doesn't mean that they are like meant to be. But anyways, Meg talks about how, she does get into the online stuff and she tries to like fight everyone online because she knows how good Sarah and Joey are. So she feels compelled to like try to protect them online. And she said that it was a blessing that they had time after the show to figure things out, because of the pressure of the show would have made things not work out for them. Not Sarah and Joey, but Meg and Mason. Again, I find that so interesting because, yeah, the show and the drama that came along with it and the whole number two of it all, they probably wouldn't have worked out. But I guess because they had the opportunity to do it sort of behind the scenes without cameras after the fact, but still sort of about the show because he was there and able to support her through that, they were able to work through it. So I don't know, very interesting. We do see lots of people to get together after the pods. That's not crazy. But I was intrigued by these two only because I'm like, didn't you guys date already? Didn't this happen already? And what am I watching here? All right, let's move on to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So Jen Shah, yes, Jen Shah was released from prison on December the 10th. So she's finally out after basically having her sentence reduced like a million times. Now she's out, but she's not like home. She served 2 of her 6.5-year sentence for wire fraud. She was photographed at the Salt Lake City International Airport. She appeared overjoyed to be reuniting with her family, sporting a burnt orange peacoat and big cat eye sunglasses. So yeah, she has gotten this early release from her time that was supposed to be starting in February 2023, but she's not actually going to be going home. She's going to be, wait, I'm trying to find it here exactly. Sorry, you guys. I'm like really trying to find this. Where is it? I know that the Bravo docket mentioned this. So I am typically not the type of podcaster that has to look things up while we're talking, but here we are. Because I believe that the Bravo docket explained this in depth, because it's not like she's just, going back to her daily life. Okay, so she has moved out of federal prison and into a community confinement program. The Bureau of Prisons confirmed that Jen has been transferred from FPC Bryan in Texas to a program overseen by the Phoenix Residential Reentry Management Office. According to the Bureau of Prisons, community confinement is defined as a residence in a community treatment center, halfway house, restitution center, mental health facility, alcohol or drug rehabilitation center, or other community correctional facility, and participation in gainful employment search efforts, community service, vocational training, treatment, educational programs, or similar facility-approved programs during non-residential hours. Okay, so that's where she's going to be. Obviously, we know she is not going to be back on Bravo because Andy has mentioned this a million times. He's like, absolutely no way, not happening. I mean, I'm happy for her and her family that she's out. She also has like $6 million in restitution to pay for. So, You know what would be funny? If her and Elizabeth Holmes, because they became besties in prison, and whoever else, I feel like there was one other famous person that they were like bunking with there in prison. If they did like a show, like The Real Housewives of Prison, The Real Housewives of Prison, would you guys watch that? I just made that up. I think that's a great idea. The Real Housewives of Prison, that I'd watch, but only while they're in prison, right? Like, what a concept. I think you just came up with a great concept for a show. Okay, Jen Shah is out. But if she were in, I would watch it. Here's why. Because she's still serving her sentence. I don't think she would be able to be paid while she's in prison. So she'd be punished in that sense. And yeah, it's not like watching her out on the town making money take advantage of people. It's watching her in prison, right? And I would love to watch Elizabeth Holmes too, right? It's almost what is that show called? Not Life After Lockup, but like during lockup. Obviously, you can't have cameras like that in prison, but I still feel like that would be a pretty cool show to watch, and I would totally watch it. All right. In other Salt Lake City news, we recently found out that Bronwyn Newport and Todd Bradley are splitting up. Now, they have been married for 9 years. They got married in 2016. And I was really surprised to hear this for two reasons. One, I was really surprised to hear that they have only been together 9 years because this is what her second year on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I thought in the first season, she said that they have been together for 10 years and we're like 2 years in. So I would assume that they've been together for 12 years. I mean, I don't know how long they dated before, but I don't know. I was really surprised to hear this. I know like a lot of people are not surprised to hear it. There was also rumors that this came out during the Salt Lake City reunion, that they were splitting up and that this was going to come out when the reunion comes out, which, is several months away. But this was confirmed by Page Six. And it was confirmed by multiple well-placed sources, apparently. And this came out on Thursday. So, they're saying that this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, noting that Newport is disgusted by what she's been seeing on TV in regards to how Bradley treats her. He's coming off badly, the source argued, reiterating that the breakup is truly not shocking. Now, everyone is saying that it's very obvious that this is from her. Even this article from Page Six is saying the same thing. Like, she's disgusted by the way that he's treating her. She's watching it on screen. She's probably really embarrassed by the way that this season is playing out. I mean, all of these like weird cheating allegations, the farting, the kissing, the looking at women in lingerie on the plane, and then her having to have these conversations with Whitney about like maybe having an open marriage and then having to have conversations with him on camera about whether he wants that, right? She's a star because this has been a rough season for her and she really is putting it all out there. But I actually have a hot take that this did not come from her. My hot take is that this came from Todd. Here's why. Now, obviously, he has been treating her badly. This is not news. But I'm not sure if he's always treated her badly, quite frankly, right? We've never really seen a different side of Todd. I mean, I always assumed that they had a really nice relationship and that he just really hated the show because we don't really see Todd outside of the show. And especially this year, he's made it very well known that he hates the show, hates anything to do with it, and makes filming with her pretty difficult. I don't think that this was like a Kelsey Grammer situation where she came on the show to get a divorce. I really don't. I think that, he was probably like, sure, if this is some like weird thing you want to do, go for it. And, over time, he's come to hate it because it's outed his cheating. It's affected his job. It's affected a lot of things. And I think it's embarrassing. I mean, like this farting and making out with people thing, it's embarrassing. He is an investment banker. He is, a big business person. And I'm sure that this show and all that comes along with it is extremely embarrassing for him and his company. And I think for those reasons, he's done, right? They've always been very different, obviously. I mean, this is a woman who is significantly younger than him. She shows up at the airport in like inflatable costumes. And so they've always been different in that regard. But I truly believe that she always loved him. I do. I know a lot of people are like, no, like look at their age difference. Look at how different that they look. She's obviously a gold digger. But first of all, remember there's no prenup, which, I think is wild and is going to be amazing for her. And second of all, maybe I'm crazy. And it's probably because I just come from a regular place, but I just believe that people do that. I mean, some people, I'm sure, but to actually get married to someone and just stay with them for a decade just because they're rich, like I just truly don't believe that. There was something I saw in her first season, second season. is something I always see in her eyes. That is a true, true love for Todd. Because listen, why would she be accepting of his cheating and be open to an open marriage and be open to trying things that he wants to do if she wasn't in love with him, right? When she talked about how he's changing or he's transitioning and she needs to be able to do that with him, she's doing that because she's trying to save her marriage, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, she's trying to do everything in her power to save this marriage, even down to having a threesome with him and somebody else, right? Him taking her cherry, him being rude to her, him looking at lingerie on an airplane is kind of nothing in comparison to marriage, right? So for her to allegedly be looking at the way he's treating her on camera and be like, no, that's enough. That's the reason I'm leaving. I just don't think so. I just really don't, because she knew all those things happened, right? Like, it's not like she's seeing things that are happening on screen that she doesn't know happened. He's not having confessionals by himself. He's not having talks with the other guys. He's not having talks with the ladies. So nothing is happening on screen that she's not aware of, right? It's not like she's having these moments of revelation where she's like, oh my God, he said that about me. That being said, I mean, it's obviously possible to look at something again, right? Like after you've lived it and be like, wow, now that I'm looking at that from like a bird's eye view, I'm absolutely disgusted, right? I mean, that's how Stassi felt rewatching that season that she dated Patrick. She was just like, oh my God, I saw myself as submissive and weak and small, and that's not who I am at all. Bronwyn, it's very possible that's the same thing. But I honestly feel like Todd has had enough of this show. And to him, his marriage to Bronwyn is not worth the cost that this show and being associated with it comes with, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's right, but I'm saying that this is where this comes from. Now, another little interesting piece of information came out from Dana Wilkie. Remember, $25,000 sunglasses? So she has a podcast, and my friend Breaking the Rules Pod Clips had posted a clip of this. Basically, she was saying something like, do you remember how like Bronwyn and Todd got in trouble with their dogs? You know how they have like 800 dogs that are all named after characters from House of Cards. And I guess one of their dogs had like attacked someone. I remember this happening and this coming out like years ago or something. So Dana Wilkie is saying that in the court documents, it says that Todd and Bronwyn were separated from 2016 to 2018. Well, that doesn't make any sense because they got married in 2016. So have they been separated from the jump? And if that's true, I mean, that really changes things, right? Have they always sort of been separate and maybe are only pretending to be together for the sake of the show and are now officially getting divorced? I don't really know. But there's something about those dates that make absolutely no sense. Who lives separately from someone from the moment that they get married? I mean, that just seems very, very odd. So I'm going to kind of do some research and look into that a little bit. But yeah, I feel sad for her. I do. I mean, I feel like any divorce is sad, despite the fact that he is a grumpy Gus. You know, I feel like this is sad for her because Gwen is going away. Her mother got her own place. We saw her talk about like never really being alone. And even though she had Todd in the house at the time that she was saying that, she's going to be alone for the first time in a real way. Her father passed away recently. So I feel like this is going to be a really tough transition for her. And I feel for her. I really do. Okay, let's move on to the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So Marciano is still doing the podcast rounds as he is wont to do. And he was talking about, you know, Jessi and Demi. And I believe that he did this podcast right before the reunion was filmed. So I'm not sure if he ended up seeing it, but he ends up talking about how he didn't get to be included in it, which was like a big part of it. But there's something that he said that I thought was really interesting about his relationship with Jessi. So I just want to play this clip for you guys from the podcast Boyfriend Material with Harry Josie.
And then me and Jessi and Macy talking on like FaceTime and we're each other at the real event. We were nervous about if we're going to see Demi and all these things, or like what's going to happen. And then once the allegations came out, I was done filming, and then me and Jessi still stayed in contact. And honestly, I'm actually really grateful for Jessi too, because when Demi made those allegations on my Instagram and then put out a statement, she immediately called me and I had her manager call me, be like, "Hey, this is what you got to do. This is how you got to handle it." Because at the time, I was sharing location with Demi. So the manager's like, "Unshare your location right now, screen record it, so you're proof of it," and like. And then like started to just to make sure that like they checked in on me, like, and Jessi was like right there for me, trying to help me out. And I'm really appreciative for that. But unfortunately, it sucks how it, like, I get what she did, what she had to do, but it was just weird how it happened. We were texting each other like 2 days before the show comes out. She's in New York with Layla. We're FaceTiming. We're texting each other. Fuck. Jordan was going through her phone. Damn it. Oh, I didn't want to say that. Shit. I got to think about this. Either way, whatever. Jordan's going through her phone, went back in Utah, and ends up calling production. And it's like, I think Marciano and Jessi are still having an affair. And I'm like, no, what? So production ends up calling Jessi, ends up calling me. And we're like, no, we're just talking. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And that was the last time I heard from her. I texted her once the show came out, apologizing again because I had never seen it. She had already seen it. She had already seen how the show was going to end because I didn't know originally that mine and Layla's filming was going to be added to season 2 at the end because I was contracted for the next part, got those episodes. So I was like, oh, they're adding it as a cliffhanger. Like, what the hell? I didn't know that. And so Jessi had made me aware of those things. That's where I was. It was really odd because Jessi and I were cool. We were very cool. But then production was like not happy that we were still talking, I think, and they wanted to like put the kibosh on that.
And then there's one other clip that I just want to play.
I showed her episodes of the show that she was on.
I'm talking about to me.
And let me tell you right now, that show was supposed to be way different right now. That's all I'm going to say. And she was not happy about how it originally looked. That being said, when I'm filming the reunion in March is the last time I talked to her because she did some things that I had to step away from. I was being advised to never talk to her again because I was also filming Mormon Wives. She was not filming, and I was being advised to not talk to her because she is not filming, and she was messing up a lot of things. So I said, okay, done with you. You just screwed me on a lot of different things. My own show now. Fuck you. Okay, not talking to you anymore.
How did that end? Did you tell her?
I asked her a question for her to admit the truth. She admitted the truth to me, and I said, okay, thank you. Just like that. Haven't talked to her since. And then once my show's coming out in April is when I posted that video when I got uninvited. That's when all her comments happened. That's when all this started. And then she puts out a statement during Stagecoach or something like that. That's when Jessi's calling me, helping me out. And then it dies out for a little bit. But she goes back to filming. Yeah. She starts doubling down, trying to pitch her narrative, play victim, do all these things.
Why do you think she dug it?
It sucks because I hate Marciano. He's like a greasy nobody who just is a clout chaser wanting to get on reality TV. But at the same time, I believe him. And that really sucks that I have to believe like this greasy man over like a woman, right? But like we've talked about this to death, basically, about like the Demi of it all. We have basically heard that she's probably not coming back for filming for next season. Her and Brett took all of these like very like Walmart photo type, like, Christmas photos with each other to show that they're still in love. Good for you guys. But I feel like the biggest bombshell from this was that Jessi and Marciano kept talking when she said that they didn't, right? She was pretty clear with every media outlet that like pretty much from the moment that Jordan found out, she stopped all communication with Marciano. But that's not true because Marciano was saying like, yeah, we kept talking and Jordan went through her phone, thought that they were still having an affair and production told them to stop talking. That's kind of crazy, right? Like it took production to get them to stop talking, not the husband, right? I mean, I don't like Jordan. Obviously, I don't like the way that he treats Jessi, but she's also like handling this like not great, right? Like, I mean, the fact that she was so nice to Marciano when he allegedly lied about saying that they had sex, the whole lie detector thing, basically sitting down and having a meal with him alone until all of the girls got there to hear the lie detector test. And like, while it is so nice of her, what she was doing for Marciano, where she's like, hey, Demi is doing all of this shit. Hey, like unfollow her location. Hey, I'm getting advice to do X, Y, and Z. And she was reaching out to him when Demi was putting all of this stuff out there. And that's really nice. I feel like given where you are with your husband and the fact that you're trying to make that work again, I would stay out of it, right? Again, I think she's just like a really nice person and she's trying to be a people pleaser and she's, really feeling for him given that Demi is trying to ruin his life. But I feel like in the best interest of her marriage, she needs to put like a very clean line between her and Marciano. And I'm sure he has other people in his life who can support him and help him through this. It just can't be Jessi. It just really can't. I hope that Marciano doesn't do any more podcasts. And same with Demi, right? Like I want this thing to be dead in the water. I mean, that being said, we talked last week about how Marciano was suing her. That being said, that's going to be very, very difficult to prove. Defamation is a very difficult thing to prove, and to be suing the production company as well and saying that they should have known that she's been lying about the sexual assault. I mean, it gets really hard and it gets really murky. Not that I don't support it. It's just, it's going to be a hard thing to prove. And I don't know how many years this lawsuit is going to go down for, right? I mean, this whole thing could go on forever. I mean, aren't we still dealing with the like Raquel and Tom and Ariana situation, which started many, many moons ago as well? So who really knows? But you know, I think that it would be beneficial for Demi if she's not doing next season, or if she is doing next season, to take a break from the show. Because, you know, as fans, we very quickly forget. Like, first season, we hated Whitney Leavitt, right? We hated her. She was the devil. And by second season, she barely said anything. And then we just kind of forgot why we hated her. So honestly, if Demi just takes a season off, we'll forget why we hated her. She could come back. Things could be normal. But she keeps putting her foot in her mouth by making the situation bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think it's just like kicking her in the ass at the end of the day. And while I hate, again, that Marciano is out there doing podcasts, because one, it means I have to listen, and two, it means I have to believe a man. It's not helping anybody's cause. And I really just feel like, you know, Demi needs to put this to bed. Hopefully Marciano decides to like pull this lawsuit, because like, again, it's to keep this going on, it's just going to get like messier and messier and messier. And I just hope this all goes away for everybody's sake, quite frankly. Okay, let's move on to some Teen Mom news. And we very rarely have Teen Mom news. So I'm really excited about this, even though it's not like a huge thing. But we're going to be talking about Kaylin Lowry for a minute. Kaylin was obviously one of our teen moms. She has 7 children now, if I'm not mistaken. So her first baby daddy was Joe. Sorry, I have to do this slowly because I'm trying to remember. Was Joe. And she got pregnant as a teen with her son, Isaac. And then she married this guy, Javi, and had another kid with him, Lincoln. And then they got divorced. They had a very contentious marriage. They put hands on each other. He stalked her. She cheated on him. He cheated on her. He was in the military. It was like a whole thing. Then she starts dating this guy, Chris. And I truly, to this day, still believe that Chris was like the love of her life. Not because he's a good guy. Chris is a piece of shit, just like the rest of them. But I feel like Chris was like the one guy that ever like really like fucked her over in a way, right? Like, she dumped all of her other boyfriends, all of her other baby daddies. But I feel like this was someone who like kept cheating on her and kept dumping her. And I feel like she had a real problem with the fact that like he didn't want her. Have you guys ever been in a relationship like that, or known someone like that who like cannot handle the fact that the other person doesn't want to be with them and then only wants to be with them for that reason, right? I feel like there was a big pull for Kaylin towards Chris just because he was very nonchalant about her and would cheat on her and wasn't like, you know, like her other baby daddies. She ends up having 2 kids with him, Creed and Lux. And yeah, they were on and off for a while, but it's been like a long time. Then she starts dating this guy, Elijah, who was her neighbor. And that's around the time that she left Teen Mom. She was like, fuck you guys. I don't need this show. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. She has several podcasts of her own now, a podcast network, the Killer Network, and she's absolutely doing amazing, right? She ends up having 3 secret babies with Elijah until she finally admits it and confirms it, leaving her with 7. And that ended up turning into this entire cheating scandal that involved a cruise called like, I mean, like, there was literally a name for it where it was called like Elijah Cruise 2024 or 2023 or something like that the internet was calling it, because he was out there on a cruise cheating on her. Kaylin knew about it, broke up with him, brought him back in. We don't really know the behind the scenes. We only know what Kaylin was willing to disclose to us on camera, which wasn't much because, again, she wasn't on the show at this time. So it was just what we saw on Instagram. But they did officially break up quite some time ago. I want to say like at least a year ago at this point. And she's been dating other people since, which has been making many of her baby daddies mad when she's bringing these guys to soccer games. You have Javi claiming that she's spending time with this guy or that guy and not with her kids. And then you have Kaylin clapping back, I'm with my kids all the time, yada, yada, yada. But anyways, we're here today to talk about Kaylin and Chris, because we actually haven't heard about Chris in a while because, you know, she has so many other baby daddies. Chris is the one who is the least involved. That's another reason why we don't hear about him a lot, but he decided to go online and talk about not being able to see his children and also about just like the trials and tribulations of being like a hot, horny guy. So I'm gonna play this clip. This is kind of long, but I'm gonna play this for you guys. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, and he's like on a live when he's doing this.
I mean, people can go on podcasts and talk shit and make it seem like this and that, but they're not telling the whole stories. You know what I mean? That's why it's just pointless. You know what I mean? Just like I said, I'm at the current moment, you motherfuckers want to let me talk to my kids. Apparently my kids were just sick, want to let me talk to them. So it's just, what's the point?
He's like, she won't let me talk to my kids, even if they're sick.
I mean, you got to get on here and try to paint a picture until I tell her the truth, or, you know. As long as you know you're true, that's what I'm saying. And I'm just, it is what they consequence. You make decisions in life and there's consequences to your decisions. And this, what I'm currently dealing with, is a consequence to me straying off from whatever path that God had me. And I'm not, I say, oh, I went to college, I had kids and shit like that. But I wasn't supposed to go to college, I had kids. That was just my stupid ass horny. I was horny. And I always said it. That's one of the things I'm teaching my kids. You know, there's a unspoken responsibility to being handsome or being good looking. There's
An unspoken responsibility to being handsome. Just because you get girls doesn't mean you need to sleep with all of them. All coochie is now good coochie. This is the lesson from Chris Lopez, okay? It talks about it in the Bible. That not all coochie is worth it in the Bible. He's reading the Bible now.
super famous was like, it's my friend. It's just, so it's with the man who's sleeping with another man's wife. He embraces her when Malcolm unpunished. I'm a country friend. Yeah.
It's giving that like Kanye West to me because like this whole like she's not letting me see my kids. Because okay, I'm gonna play Kaylin's video in response to this because like she has like a very good explanation. And listen, I'm not like a Kale stan necessarily, right? I will stan whoever is right in the situation. And it really seems like she's right in this particular situation. And I'm not saying that she's right in every situation. There's been many, many, many situations she's not right in. But this guy is like, again, just like out here looking for clout, looking for people to sympathize with him and be like, oh, she won't let me see my kids when like that's not the situation. This is really long.
Man, nothing to be obsessed with. Okay, there's literally nothing to be obsessed with. And the narrative that I am the problem. Yeah, no shit, I'm the common denominator. But I think every situation is very different. So let's start there. Okay, I'm not saying that I have no hand in all the issues with my baby dads, but a lot of them were growing pains between the rest of them. For some reason, Chris and I have not been in the same vicinity in a real way, like in a romantic way or on and off way in over 5 years. Like, why are we still doing this? Why are we still going on the internet and bashing everybody? You're 31 years old. I don't want to be here talking about my baby dad. Like, I have so much going on. I don't understand why we're running to the internet. Like, you could have saved all of it for court, and I'm going to present everything I had in court the same way I always do. And if you don't like what I have, like, I didn't run to the internet and tell everybody that you took the kids from me for the entire Thanksgiving break, which was not your time at all. I didn't run. That wasn't the first thing I did when I didn't have them. You wouldn't even tell me where they were. You literally, like, me and the police came looking for them and nobody knew where they were. You wouldn't even tell me where they were. You wouldn't let me talk to them, and they weren't sick. It was my time. It's not like you took your own time and I was trying to talk to them. Like, you literally took my entire week and then shaved our son's head. Like, but then spinning the narrative for somebody. It's insane. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I would have loved the break this weekend. I would have loved to send them with you, but they were sick. They didn't feel like going.
They were sick.
Wanted to wake up.
That's it.
But instead of asking, hey, Carol, what do the kids need? I'm so sorry they're sick. Is there a time that I can make up? Can I make up this time? You run to the internet. Instead of like, Javi had no problem emailing me and saying, hey, if Lincoln wants to come this weekend, let's make it happen. I know I didn't get to see him last weekend because he was sick. That's all it would take. That's literally all it would take, on top of the fact that you took my entire week. So truly, I shouldn't even offer you makeup time. It's both of them. They aren't putting the kids first. Actually, that is completely false. You have not heard me come on this app and talk shit about my kid's father in a long fucking time, probably a year, if not 2 years.
The fact that she has to be like, not ever, but she has in the past, right? So not anymore. It's been years.
And that morning that they woke up, so they had it, the symptoms of it. And then they started symptoms Wednesday night. By Friday morning, I was like, I got to call the doctor. So I call the doctor, they get tested on Friday. They didn't even go to their dad's all the way up until Friday. And then Friday rolled around and their symptoms got progressively worse. And so at that point, I was like, okay, we have to go to the doctor and they're not going to their dad's. Otherwise, I would have told him much further in advance. But it just didn't play out that way. But again, it's not malicious. I'm not keeping them from him because I was being malicious. It was for their own well-being, their best interest. It's exhausting, like to sit here and say I'm obsessed with a man that I truly don't think about on a regular fucking basis unless I get online and everyone's telling me that he's alive, talking shit. It's like, come on, bro. I thought we stopped doing this. I thought we were all in our 30s and stopped doing this, truly. So, honestly, I don't know if y'all remember this, but a few years ago, I'm pretty sure Chris said it on the internet, but I know he said it directly to me, was that he knew what he was doing when he had kids with me because he knew that his kids would be good. That's what he said to me. So I'm pretty sure he also said it on the internet, but I know for a fact he said it to me. And that's crazy because that's not the narrative you spin on the internet. Like, I just want peace for every fucking one. I'm too old for this. I don't want to be on here talk like I'm tired.
Okay, I totally agree with her and I get what she's saying. But that being said, she has talked shit about him in the past and her baby daddies, and she does come online and she does do stuff on her podcast. If she hasn't done it in years, maybe she's right. I don't recall, like off the bat. But like to act like, oh, I'm too old for this. Yeah, I mean, you always should have been too old for this. Like, this should have never been the kind of thing that should be between you and Chris online, but whatever. At the end of the day, neither of them should be doing it now, right? And it is really annoying. I feel for her in that sense, but also like, you know, I feel like with that many baby daddies, you're going to end up having contentious situations with at least one of them at any given time, right? I mean, dealing with that many men, you just can't even imagine, quite frankly, right? So to have good relationships with all of them is probably pretty unlikely. So maybe she should consider herself lucky that most of her baby daddy situations are actually kind of going well right now. 3 of 4 ain't bad, right? 3 of 4 ain't bad. Okay, let's move on to a little bit of Love Island news. So in Love Island USA Season 7 news, Shelly and Ace have broken up. So Shelly confirmed this recently for Page 6. And, you know, this is really interesting. She said something like, you know, if you love someone, you have to let them go. I don't really know what happened here, but given how cocky this guy was in talking about everybody else's relationship, like Nicolandria and whether it was real or not, and you know, he was a guy who was very smug and had a lot of opinions about how everybody else was functioning in the villa, outside of the villa, trying to act like, you know, the queen bee, basically, of the villa. And then once on the outside, had a lot of negative things to say about people. It's just sort of funny now that, you know, his relationship didn't work out. That being said, I'll say the same thing that we said about everyone on Love Island, where I feel like we just never really get to know these people well enough to feel invested in their relationships in a major way, despite the fact that Shelly and Ace were, really interested in each other from the beginning, right? We knew that they had already met before. They had met in New York and it sort of stayed in touch on social media. And in that vein, it sort of seemed like, wow, the fact that you both ended up here, it almost seems like meant to be. It seems like kismet, right? She was into somebody else a little bit at the beginning. I forget that guy's name. That white guy, the tall white guy. I don't really remember his name, but she ended up with Ace. And, maybe it's the fact that they don't live in the same place. Doesn't one of them live in New York and one in Miami? It could be that. It could be the fact that, he's kind of a bossy little man, right? And maybe she doesn't like that. Who really knows? But, another Love Island couple bites the dust. So RIP Shelley and Ace. Okay, let's move on to our last topic of the day, which is selling sunset. And we're going to be talking about Chelsea Lescani because Chelsea, quite frankly, is one of my favorite characters. But that being said, there's always been like this air of mystery around her. So we saw her get divorced last year on the show, right? Bree TSC sat her down and was like, a friend of mine saw your man Jeff cheating, saw him like kissing someone. And apparently Chelsea had already known about this, but it was our understanding that this cheating is what led to their divorce. She's gone on like a few podcasts since, but like refuses to talk about it. And I understand not talking about your ex and not talking about your baby daddy in a negative way for the sake of her children. That makes complete sense. But she won't even say whether she cheated, and she won't even say like the actual reason for the breakup, not on podcasts, not on the show, not anywhere. And, as a reality TV star, you're supposed to tell your whole life. But I've always been sort of confused about like why she's been so incredibly secretive about this one aspect, right? It could have to do with like, their finances and getting a divorce, promises that she made him. Like, I don't really know. But now apparently this Jeff guy, her ex, is going public with his new girlfriend, and he is denying cheating. So I'm going to read you guys this article that I found on Reality Blurb. It says, Jeff Lescani, the ex-husband of Chelsea Lescani, is making waves as he seemingly confirmed his new girlfriend, denied he cheated on the Selling Sunset star, and gives his full side of the story. This is funny because I only found this on Reality Blurb, so is this the only outlet that you spoke to? Anyway, Chelsea, 32, and Jeff married in 2017 after meeting 2 years earlier on a popular dating app. Oh, I didn't know that they met on a dating app. Sadly, she filed for divorce in March 2024, and they were legally separated in December of that year. Jeff recently went public with his new girlfriend, Elena Milentigivetis, who happens to be a professional volleyball player. He posted multiple photos of the reported 26-year-old before making his Instagram account private. She also posted him on her page. The first photo he posted features them standing in front of a large Christmas tree. He's wearing a pair of white pants, a gray sweater, and white shoes. Regarding Elena, she's sporting a long brown coat, what appears to be a matching dress, and black boots. Other photos have them posing together while wearing similar sunglasses. In addition to sharing the photos, Jeff wanted to clear his name after many had speculated that he was unfaithful to Chelsea. He did this by posting a series of messages called My Side of the Truth, which he organized into 6 different facts. Jeff began, I have sat idly by for the past 2 years and witnessed misinformation about me, my marriage, and my life. Jeff also says he's been hounded by the press. Regarding his truth, the first thing he shared is that reality TV is filmed many months before it is aired on TV, 5 to 6 months or more prior. Okay, so I'm going to read like these look like, what I'm looking at is like, they look like excerpts from the 10 Commandments or something. It's like he used like paper and font that look like, yeah, like the Old Testament or something. Anyways, so it says, My side of the truth. I have sat idly by for the past 2 years and witnessed misinformation about me, my marriage, and my life. I've been hounded by the press, unwilling to give a statement that can be manipulated into more untruths. Now I see all the twisted comments on the press starting with more false statements, inflating stories so they can put pen to paper and drive viewership, no matter the cost or detriment to one's family. I have never been interviewed and never given a statement about all of the hate I've received by perfect strangers who've concocted their version of what they read and what they don't read. It astounds me the notion based on a reality TV show grow like poisonous mold on a wet wall. Okay. I am compelled to make a statement because I see strangers I've never met standing up for me, and strangers I've never met send me hate mail to help ease whatever demons they are fighting in their own mind, because negative energy somehow gives them peace. Now it's my turn to speak my truth for one simple reason, to correct the falsities that exist and all the fighting amongst strangers about me and my ex-wife, Chelsea. Our relationship started out as a true love story. I loved and respected Chelsea and her family, and still do to this day. She and I co-created two of the most special humans on the earth, for which I feel eternally grateful. But it's time to correct the false narratives that this has been put into the universe by so many expert opinions on my life. As someone very special to me likes to put it, this belongs to the past. So here are the facts. Fact 1, reality TV is filmed many months before it is aired on TV, 5 to 6 months prior or more. Fact 2, reality TV is not real. Editors and producers have the inequitable right to edit, voice over, and twist any storyline they wish. Their mission is to create drama because that's how they make money. People love a good fight, and that's what brings the ratings to a show or news channels and publishers. It does not matter to them who they destroy in the process. Yes, the participants sign up for it, and it becomes a frenzy for a good storyline and job security. I was a bit naive and got caught up with the popularity of the show and my support for Chelsea. Once I experienced how it all worked from behind the scenes, I realized how contrived and toxic the environment was and retreated. Fact 3, Chelsea and I are in a good place, co-parenting our 2 children with care and love to keep them balanced and healthy as we both have profound care for their well-being. It is both of our driving force in every action we take and don't take. Our kids' well-being is the most important thing we have in common. Fact 4, Chelsea and I share 50-50 custody of our children and live a few blocks from each other. And yes, I do provide support for my children financially, which was a misstatement of truth during the recent Selling Sunset reunion show. I always look out for the best interests of my children. Fact 5, season 8 of Selling Sunset was a stream based on the foundation of a misleading text from a total stranger about an alleged accusation of me making out with another woman at a hotel in December of 2023. This turned into a blown-up scheme that misled millions of viewers and the press to make up cheating stories and painted me as the villain, everything a good storyline needs. Let's just say that my marriage with Chelsea ended long before any of the allegations came to a reality TV show for our own personal reasons. Good marriages sometimes turn, and it was unfortunate. We both tried to make it work, but our love story came to an end, and Chelsea and I do not hate each other, and I will always be connected to her because we share what matters most, the 2 wonderful humans that we created. Fact 6, after 2 years of healing and taking my life back, yes, I am dating a new person whom I've recently met. She is kind and loving, a bright spot in my life, whom I cherish. No amount of hateful posts or comments will change that. Chelsea and I have moved on, and we are both free to pursue love and happiness, and I truly wish that for her. We are both happy and healthy co-parenting relationship, and that takes work. When everything is boiled down, it's about our kids. In closing, as we approach the new year, I wish we could all reflect on how to make this world a better place. Social media is a powerful tool, and we collectively have the power to embrace a more positive stance towards one another with our words and actions. I know we can all do better. Wishing everyone a happy and healthy new year, Jeff. Okay, so he had a lot to say. Interesting. I mean, if that's true, I mean, if they were really separated all the way back then that means that entire storyline is false. And like I said, Chelsea's never spoken on it. She's never said whether it's true or whether it's false. She just won't speak on it at all. And I'm wondering, therefore, why they are good. Because, well, I guess she doesn't manipulate the storyline. She doesn't get to decide them, right? Because I was going to say, how come he hasn't asked her to, like, you know, tell the truth and make sure that the truth is known on the show? And I guess because he's saying that, like, you know, there's voiceovers and edits and manipulation. But I mean, she could go on a podcast and tell the truth if his truth is the truth, but, you know, she's not going to do that for him the same way like Craig didn't do that for Paige. Plus, she doesn't really owe him anything, right? I mean, it's good to hear that they're in a good co-parenting space. I mean, that's amazing. That's really all that does matter. And yeah, people need to leave him alone, right? Like, listen, I'm not supporting another man here. It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, like, the social media thing needs to end. People need to stop death threatening people, coming for people. You've never met these people, right? Even if he did cheat on her and he was the worst husband ever, you don't need to come for Chelsea's ex-husband. You don't know her. You don't know him. We don't need to be doing that. So I agree in that regard. I'm just shocked because, listen, Selling Sunset has always been a pretty produced show. It's been always pretty fake. But, you know, they did get divorced in real life, so I assumed that it stemmed from that cheating because that's how the storyline led, which is what led to a divorce happening IRL. So that's what I assume happened, right? But now it seems like they got divorced for a completely different reason, and we're actually like faking continuing to be married, I guess, for the sake of the show. So I have questions for Chelsea, quite frankly, right? Like, I want her response to this. I want her on a podcast, and I want her to talk about her marriage, right? Because again, initially I thought she was just doing it to protect her kids, but now it seems like she's trying to protect a storyline. So I want to know the truth, Chelsea. Come out and tell us the truth. All right, guys, that is the end of the episode today. I hope that you enjoyed it. Follow me on TikTok, Threads, and Instagram at The Bravo Investigator. If you can subscribe to the Patreon, I would love for you to do so. It's patreon.com/The Bravo Investigator Podcast. And I love you, BBs. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Bravo Investigator Podcast. For more content, head over to patreon.com/The Bravo Investigator Podcast. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Bravo Investigator. If you enjoyed the show, leave a 5-star review. Love you, BBs. See you next time.